Modern AAA games just seem to be getting bigger, and that increase in map size brings hundreds of tasks to do that can get overwhelming. Some of these games, such as nearly every open-world Ubisoft game, will take hundreds of hours to complete if you want to experience everything it has to offer. Many people don't have the time to get into these games, while others simply need a small game to use as a palate cleanser. Vampire Survivors is a game that pretty much everyone can enjoy, and it's incredibly cheap. Recently I've been watching tons of videos about the Steam Deck, and I'm so excited to finally get mine later this month. Vampire Survivors has blown up seemingly out of nowhere, with it being the most played game on the Steam Deck in August of 2022. The Steam Deck itself is probably the biggest reason why Vampire Survivors has blown up recently, but the other reason is that the game is just insanely fun. This video won't be too long since the game is pretty simple, but I did want to go over a few main points about this cheap but very addicting game. My goal is to show you exactly what this game is and help you decide whether or not it would be something you would like. Since there isn't any story in Vampire Survivors, the entire video will discuss the gameplay and mechanics. Vampire Survivors is a roguelite, which means you lose all your progress when you die, but during runs you gain things to use as permanent upgrades. The main currency in this game is coins, which you can use to unlock new characters or upgrades. One of the first things you'll notice is how low resolution the whole game is. The menu is very basic, it feels a bit outdated, and seems underwhelming with the lack of music. This is something that you'll overlook very easily, since the gameplay more than makes up for this. The pixel art style is very well done, and makes the game run well on most devices. I personally believe that the main reason this style was used is that computers can handle many more enemies on screen at once. When I say many enemies, I mean multiple thousands of enemies on screen at once, which is complete insanity sometimes. The enemy types have great variety, and the waves slowly change to different enemy types as the game progresses. The waves of enemies aren't particularly hard to avoid until they start overwhelming you with sheer numbers. Reaching higher levels on stage 1 is generally pretty easy if you have enough firepower and damage. As you progress through the stage, more enemies will appear on the screen, and they gain more health and more damage, making it harder to survive. Eventually, even if you've survived for a long time, the game finds a way to kill you and end your run. During the game, you can find chests that randomly drop from tougher boss enemies, and these chests give you a power-up and a bunch of gold. Gold is the only thing that persists, and you can use it to increase your base stats. This allows you to survive longer every run, and also buy new characters when you saved up enough. Every character starts with different weapons, stats, and playstyles. The first character is more of a melee build, as that one starts with a whip and a power that increases damage every few levels. The second character is a faster-paced magic build, who starts with homing spells and a power-up that increases experience every couple of levels. Characters become more expensive as you go down the list, and I'm currently working my way up to buy the more expensive ones. So far, I've noticed that the character you choose doesn't make a huge difference besides early game. Every character can get the same buffs and power-ups as they level up more. The biggest difference I've seen so far is with the third character, who is incredibly slow to start, but has a powerful piercing weapon. Once you've leveled up speed for a bit, the weapon really starts to shine. As you defeat enemies, they drop blue experience bubbles that you need to level up. When you first start out, it only takes a couple bubbles, but later on in the game it takes hundreds. These are used to buy temporary upgrades in-game. Upgrades can include weapons, health upgrades, defense upgrades, pickup range, and everything you can think of. You can become pretty powerful in this game, but not game-breakingly overpowered. Generally, I try to increase the number of weapons and decrease the amount of damage taken, then later game focus on damage increases and other small improvements. It definitely depends on what playstyle you like, but some power-ups are much better than others. My personal preference is a lot of homing weapons combined with a fast speed. Your leveling strategy will also help you gain more coins per run, as that allows you to last longer and beat more enemies. In my opinion, the upgrades combined with the massive waves of enemies is what makes this game so incredibly fun. Some runs will give you amazing power-ups and let you create satisfying builds, and runs like that are what keep you coming back for more. The best use of your money definitely has to be the permanent upgrades. These things might not seem like big boosts, but they allow you to survive slightly longer and make slightly more money each run. There are quite a few upgrades to go for, and though I don't know the best ones to upgrade first, I recommend doing ones that suit your playstyle. If you want something of a tank build, you'd want to pump points into health and armor stats first. There's probably a good strategy somewhere for the most effective upgrade path, but honestly, I just want to have fun with leveling up what I think would be good. The money that you need to level up comes in chests that drop randomly. Each chest has a rarity that determines how many power-ups it gives and how much you'll receive. It plays a satisfying little song when you open one of these, and it gives you a small little breather in the middle of an intense battle. Finding these chests is essential for both progression and surviving longer in your run. Sometimes I get a little greedy and jump into a horde of enemies to get one, only to die shortly after the chest is collected. Overall, the temporary upgrades are what make the game so replayable. It keeps you playing longer and makes you want to play another run just to try out the latest upgrade. The stages provide the biggest variation in gameplay. Not only are there new sets of enemies and bosses, but the locations offer unique terrain that changes the way you play. An example is how the first stage is mostly open, while in the second stage you can only go left and right. The enemies have unique attack patterns that you need to learn, as often they have weak points that you could break out of based on your character's abilities. The way you unlock new stages is to reach a certain level on one of the previous stages, which gets more difficult the more you play the game. After a couple of hours, I play more of stage 1 to get that more open feel to the map, so I haven't really tried to unlock anything past stage 2. Even if your goal isn't progression, you can still unlock stages over time by playing, upgrading yourself, and generally getting better at the game. The biggest thing that Vampire Survivors has going for it is its replayability. This is especially true on a platform like the Steam Deck, where you can pick it up and start a game in seconds. For other platforms though, it's a good breather from the larger, more overwhelming games, or simply a way to wind down by playing a couple of runs. Even if you do play the game to 100% completion, you'll still be able to complete runs as you like, with free reign over all the characters and stages. This game is infinitely replayable, and I'm sure it'll get ported to more platforms as time goes on. Vampire Survivors is still only an early access game, meaning it's going to receive some sizable updates in the future. So now's the time I give my opinions on the game and let you know if I think this game is worth buying. From the rest of this review, I think it's kind of obvious that I give this game an easy buy, especially with the game being so cheap. I bet it will even go on sale sometime, making it a no-brainer to pick up. It's infinitely replayable, easy to run, addicting, and just fun and relaxing to play. I'm already a huge roguelike fan, so this game fits right in with the rest of my collection. If this review helped you out at all, leave a like and subscribe to Cubold Gaming. I really enjoy doing game reviews, and any support we get from our community would help us out a lot. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video.